to Not Suitable for Adults. It's the podcast that dares to ask the question, just how many brand new shows can these two people watch every single week?
Oh, a lot.
Yeah, it turns out we can do it a lot. And my name's Rich.
I'm Natalie.
And we're going to start off this week with a little throwback to a couple weeks ago. We had our guest and friend Jeremy Gover on, and he recommended and talked a little bit about Teen Titans Go. And so I just wanted to go in and watch that a little bit myself because it's up my alley as a person.
Right.
And I gotta say, I watched the first few episodes of it, and it is pretty cute. So here's the...
Cute?
Yeah, I would describe it as cute.
Okay.
It's funny because I had seen little clips of this show before, and it reminded me, I'm starting to see some of these shows like in categories. So there's I've talked a little bit about before, there's these shows where there's like a team, like My Little Pony. Mm-hmm. There's a team of people with sort of different abilities and everything that they bring to the table.
Right. What's the one that you were talking about?
I think I was talking about My Little Pony.
Right. And
comparing it to something like Paw Patrol.
Oh, right. Okay.
And so this is kind of another one of those. And Jeremy's right. It's interesting because here you go. Thank you, Google Assistant.
I don't know why she was talking to me. That was creepy. I'm going to turn that down.
Anyway, so there are these shows that kind of all go towards each other. What's up, baby?
I want to sit with you.
Well, baby, I got to do the podcast right now. Can you sit right here next to me? Right there? Perfect. We're going to make this happen.
We got to.
There are these shows.
Yes.
They're the shows that we talked about already. And so here are these characters that are superheroes, but there really isn't anything about that. And it's funny because when I've seen it before, I've thought like, oh, okay, yeah, it's kind of like one of those shows. It's kind of like My Little Pony or something like that. And the first thing that happens in the first episode of Teen Titans Go is Raven is watching like that universe's version of My Little Pony.
Oh.
And part of the thing is that like the rest of the characters are talking about something and interrupting her time watching the show. Mm-hmm. And so she sends them on this quest to get like all the perfect pieces of a sandwich from around the cosmos, which is kind of weird.
But is she really just trying to get rid of them?
But she really just wants to get rid of them.
Gotcha.
So anyway.
Is Raven a littler girl, like a My Little Pony watcher? Or is she like, I feel like if she's a superhero, she should be more like at least preteen age.
Well, so the Teen Titans are teens.
Right.
They're all sort of like young teens.
So she is a Teen Titan.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's also kind of funny because she's like the one that dresses all in black. Mm. And so it's kind of like initially funny that she's trying to watch this colorful show. At least to me. I don't know if that was a joke that they were telling or not, but I thought it was funny.
Where does the Titan part come from?
I don't know enough about... The Teen Titans are a comic book team. Like Robin and Cyborg and Beast Boy and Starfire, I think is her name, and Raven are a comic book team called the Teen Titans. And I think the idea is that there are sort of there's the grown-up characters who are kind of like a pantheon of
the big Titans.
Yeah, and then there's this sort of younger team of Teen Titans.
Gotcha.
I think that's true. I'm not deep in the comic lore.
Gotcha.
Of these guys. Anyway, I watched the first few episodes of the first season, and it's pretty funny. It's not very focused, like Jeremy said. It's not super focused on them being a superhero team, and there's no like initial "let's meet the gang" or anything.
Yeah.
It's just kind of, you dive in and it's like, okay, it's basically just five kids
Hanging
who
out.
live together.
But also, they live together?
Yeah, they like live in this house.
By themselves?
Yeah.
But they're teenagers.
Yeah, but they're also superheroes.
So, do they have parents?
I don't know. I haven't seen their... I mean, yes, they have... I'm sure they have parents, but they... Not in the story as far as I can tell yet.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I would like to know what their family dynamics are and why all of these teenagers are living in how do they afford it?
Well, Robin is famously an orphan and is raised by Bruce Wayne.
So does
AKA
Bruce
Batman.
Wayne pay for their house that they're all living in?
Probably. They do talk about in one of the episodes that Robin crashed the Batmobile. Like he went joyriding in the Batmobile and crashed it and got in trouble.
I feel like in other depictions of Batman and Robin is younger, but not that much younger.
Yeah, so they haven't said his name. They've only called him Robin, but there's a couple of different iterations of Robin.
Mm-hmm.
So there's the original Robin is Dick Grayson, and he's the one who was in the circus and his family died.
Right, but he's even still like late teens.
Right. And then
even early 20s, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sort of, yeah, traditionally. And then there's another Robin after that. Dick Grayson goes on to become someone else. And this new kid becomes the new Robin. And his name, I think this is who this is his name's Tim Drake.
Oh.
And he is younger.
Oh, okay. Like an actual teenager.
Yeah.
Younger teenager.
So I don't know I don't know that this is that Robin, but that's why there's a younger version of Robin.
Bruce Wayne. Okay, we're getting into this. We're
Yeah.
getting into a little bit of Batman because I'm confused by something. Bruce Wayne makes Robin his ward.
Mm-hmm.
Or, what's the first guy's name?
Dick Grayson.
Dick Grayson. But that doesn't mean he's adopted him, right? Because he's too old to be adopted.
Yeah. It's like he's a foster dad kind of thing.
Yeah, but he's still making him his ward is basically just letting him live with him, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay. I just wonder what his ward, like what that even means, but I've never known anybody rich enough to have a ward.
Really, honestly, I think it's very like a foster family. It's basically like, you're not my kid, you are not going to be here forever, but you're my responsibility until you're an adult, basically.
Okay.
Natalie's looking up what it means to be someone's ward right now. So, and then there's another, and I can't remember his name, but there's another Robin after Tim Drake who is, I think, Bruce Wayne's actual biological son. I can't remember his name.
Ooh, so Batman has a kid?
Oh, yeah. With Catwoman, I think.
Ew.
I can't remember who he has. I can't remember who he has a son with. But
Person, a minor who has been legally placed under the care. So it's a minor.
Yeah.
Who's been legally placed under the care of a guardian or a court. Just made his legal guardian.
Yeah.
So, but it always seemed like, especially in the movie renditions,
Mm-hmm.
that Chris O'Donnell was not a minor.
I think he was supposed to be like 17.
No.
Yeah, I think so.
No, there's no way. Okay. Sorry.
That's okay.
I was, for a second there, I was like, Ward, what is it good for?
That's That's pretty good. Anyway, we're way off the whole. It's okay. I like talking about superhero stuff with you. This isn't something I know a ton about, so
yeah.
I just know that there have been many Robins throughout the years.
In Teen Titans, is it all like DC? Is that a DC thing?
Yep.
Okay, not interested.
I mean, it's not like it's based on the movies. It's a cartoon that looks like
Marvel all the way, yo.
Anyway, so that's Teen Titans Go. It is good. I will keep watching it because it's funny.
Okay, great. Do you think Cora would like it?
She might, actually, because there's a couple of, there are 3 male and 2 female characters, and they're all colorful and they're funny, so.
Okay. I would be interested to see if she gets into superheroes. Because there's not really like I'm trying to think of like a little kid's superhero type thing, other than, I guess, like we've talked about Super Y.
Mm-hmm. And PJ Masks.
Oh, PJ Masks, right. But, I'm thinking more of like the comic versions of superheroes.
We'll try it out. So, we'll see if she likes it.
Okie dokie.
So that's Teen Titans Go. Next, it's the question of the day.
Question of the day.
Lovely.
Thanks.
And this week's question is, we're just thinking about in the time of the quarantine. Sometimes you are limited by what you can watch. And this week we're pondering if you had to pick one kids movie that you had to watch sort of on loop.
Yeah.
That was the only one you had and you had to watch it on loop. What would it be?
The Emperor's New Groove.
Yeah.
Is that the one you chose?
It's high on the list. Let me hear you talk about Emperor's New Groove for a second.
I think it doesn't get old. It's just funny throughout. It's quirky and it moves. Like there's not a stagnant part of the movie. It's just constantly moving. So you don't feel bored at any time. And that's what I'm looking for in a movie that you could just watch over and over again.
This is definitely one that I have said before. I have done this. I have sat down and just watched Emperor's New Groove several times in a row.
I have as well.
Because you're right. It's very funny. The voice acting is very good. And I hadn't thought about it, but you're right. There's basically something happening all the time.
Yes. Yeah. I guess the only time that it really slows down is during the part where there's always a part where people get mad at each other and they separate but even that part lasts just minutes of movie time, really. Go sit down, please. And then it's back to, okay, let's get this done. Yeah. And yeah, it's moving. It's funny. I love it. I love the characters. Yeah. That's a very good answer. I kind of want to go watch Emperor's New Groove. When we're done with this. Yeah. We'll just take a break and we'll go watch. I'm just kidding. Okay, bye everybody. That is definitely one that I was thinking of saying. I will say, while I'm sort of stalling, trying to think what my other answer would be other than Emperor's New Groove. So you were going to choose Emperor's New Groove? I think I was on the verge of choosing that and then yeah. But I'm going to say another one. That's why I said it so quickly, because I knew that it was a popular choice. Yeah, it's a good one. While I'm thinking, I'll say one that we have also, as parents, watched a lot on loop, that we haven't had to watch much, really, in the last couple of years, was Moana. Yeah. This was Cora's absolute favorite movie for a while. Yeah, around the time she was 2, I guess. Yeah, there was a several month period where every day she wanted Moana at least one time. Yes, and that's not an exaggeration. And so we got very familiar with that movie. Not the beginning part of the movie, because she didn't like that part. So we always skip the first 3 minutes, the part where it's telling the story of Maui stealing the heart. Right. She didn't like that part.
Man, Moana's a good movie though. That's
Moana is
actually
good.
It's one that I didn't get sick of Moana. Maybe you did. You watched that probably more than I did, but
I mean, the music's good. I like watching if it's a movie that I have to watch over and over again. I like to have, and it has music in it. I like it to actually be good music.
Yeah, it's a good one. It's a fun one. Cora's walking in circles in our room, y'all. It's very distracting. I can't think of a better one than Emperor's New Groove.
Really?
I mean, there are others. So there's others that I've talked about before. I could watch Kung Fu Panda a lot.
Yeah.
I could watch The Incredibles a lot.
Yeah.
There was a point. I'm trying to think. There's a lot of those Pixar movies that I feel like have a lot of rewatch value, but no, I don't think there's a better one than Emperor's New Groove. I can't think of a better one now.
But
that's a really good answer.
To just watch over and over.
I won't even want to have the button, just button on my own.
Okay.
We're going to take a short parenting break so that we can get Cora to the bathroom.
Well, while we're taking her to the bathroom, let's just go ahead and take a quick stopover in Promoville.
On the way to Promoville.
Do you want to know things about video games? How about consumer-oriented reviews, honest opinions, hot takes, and predictions? Well, you're listening to the right ad. Introducing the Lit Gaming Arena Podcast, Season 2. We bring you 2 episodes every week. Terminal News, which focuses on all the latest gaming news you'll ever need. And the LGA Cast, where we talk about all the games we're playing in the gaming industry in general, and we do not hold back any punches. We also have the occasional wacky guest, so don't miss out. Subscribe to us today. You can find us on our website, lga.gg, and on Apple, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, or whatever podcast app you use. Again, that's the Lit Gaming Arena Podcast at lga.gg.
And we're back. We went to Promoville for a second because we had a little bit of parenting to do, but
a lot of parenting to do.
We got a little parenting to do. Like we're going into a montage.
I was gonna say
parenting
that
montage.
Sounded like a 70s sitcom.
Yeah, accurate. That's what we're doing. All right, so Natalie, you watched a movie and you're going to tell us about it.
Yes. I watched Smallfoot, and it was recommended to us by Four in Tow podcast.
Our good buddies over there.
Yeah, at Four in Tow pod. And they're really cool. They're a homeschool podcast.
Yeah, which is near and dear to your heart.
Yeah, I was homeschooled for Four in Tow. Hey.
I was homeschooled too.
Yeah, but for like what?
For 1 year.
For 1 year.
For 2nd grade.
Lame homeschool. Lame. Four in Tow. Hey, I was homeschooled from like 3rd or 4th grade all the way through high school. So, hey, if you want me on your podcast, I'd love to talk about homeschooling with you.
This is just a quick, outreach for some cross promotion.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. I watched Smallfoot, and its main character, Migo, is voiced by Channing Tatum, who you can tell it's his voice, but I thought that was an interesting. We've talked about voice over acting before, and how some people just have really unique voices, and they're really good with voice acting. Channing Tatum, you can tell it's Channing Tatum, but also I feel like his voice is just a guy. Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
I think he, this was a couple years back. I feel like there was a second where Channing Tatum was everywhere, right?
So this was in 2018.
Yeah. I think this was sort of, not to say that he's gone or anything, but I think this was towards the end of the Channing Tatum heyday.
Oh, okay.
And I think maybe they were trying to see, like, what else could we use Channing Tatum in? Is he a voice actor?
Because the other voice actor that is also one of the main characters is played by James Corden.
Yeah, who has an iconic voice.
Right. Well, I don't know if it's just his, maybe it's just his accent is amazing.
Right. We're Americans. When we say it's an iconic voice, we're saying he's British.
Yes. He's got an accent. That's what makes his voice amazing, I guess. I
think he has a unique voice.
Well, do you think in England they would, if I went on and I was just playing a person?
Hey, we have a handful of listeners in the UK.
Yeah. Do you guys like listening to us? Do you think we're quirky because of our accents? I'm just curious.
It's a good question. Tell us.
Yeah.
Get at us. Get in the comments.
Yeah. So the main thing that I wanted to talk about with Smallfoot that I thought was pretty funny was their sets of rules that they have. The sets of rules that they are governed by. And they have a lot of them. But some of the main ones are, so they live in this Yeti village that's on the peak of a mountain. And it's very snowy. And I believe this is in the mountain range that goes through Nepal and around Kathmandu. What is that mountain range?
The Himalayas.
Oh, thanks. Oh, yeah. The mountain range.
You know, the mountains.
So they live on this peak of this mountain that is above the cloud. It peaks above the clouds.
The peak peaks.
Yes, above the clouds. And they live on that top of that mountain.
Okay.
And their rules are, for the Yeti, their rules are that their mountain, their peak, is being held up by these giant mountain mammoths.
Obviously.
And the mountain mammoths are fed by these big blocks of ice that they, that they manufacture, but the Yetis manufacture and then put down like this chute that goes down into the mountain and then feeds the mammoths at the bottom of the peak.
How do they think the mammoths get nutrients?
By the ice.
The ice is nothing. It has no nutrients. There's no nutrients in ice. All you're getting
is
very
hydrating.
It's just cold water.
But it's mountain water.
Come on, Yeti.
It's from a mountain spring. So it's full of extra electrolytes.
It's got all the electrolytes you need.
Yes.
It's got no vitamins, but it's packed with minerals.
Mountain mammoths don't need vitamins.
I beg to differ. They're holding up a mountain.
You don't know. Well, we will come to realize that, what? There aren't mountain mammoths holding up this peak?
Wait a second. Everything you've told me so far is a lie?
Well.
Wow.
Another rule that we have to live by if we were Yeti in this village is that every morning you have to ring this giant gong or the sun won't rise.
Okay.
So they ring the gong and then the sun rises.
Okay. What do they do? What happens on cloudy days? Is it ever
They're
cloudy?
They're above the clouds.
There's never clouds above them?
There's always sun.
It's always sunny.
It's always sunny in
Yeti-Delphia.
And So Channing Tatum plays Migo.
Okay.
M-I-G-O, Migo. And his dad is the gong ringer. And to ring the gong, he sits in this chair, and Migo helps him by pulling him back in this giant slingshot type thing, and then pulling this lever, and he shoots. And it's literally like they shoot all the way over their village to the other side, and they ring the gong. They have these stone helmets that they wear. They ring the gong with their heads.
Okay.
And they make this joke that the dad used to be a lot taller.
Okay, I was going to ask if, like,
He's got a flat head.
There's got to be some side effects.
Yeah. The dad used to be a lot taller, and so now he's much shorter because he's rung the gong. This is me ringing the gong.
Oh, that was intimidating.
Just constantly has shortened him.
Okay.
And also, he has a different head shape now. And they're governed by these laws and all these laws are written on these little stones.
Okay.
And one of the stones says, there's no such thing as a Smallfoot.
Very specific.
Yes.
That
which
rule.
to us is us. People.
Oh.
Yes.
Okay.
Yetis are Bigfoots.
We is Smallfoots.
We is Smallfoots.
Okay.
We's little bitty foots.
We's the little foots.
And you realize how big these Yeti are, by the way. There's an airplane that crashes, and Migo sees it crash.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the first time he sees a Smallfoot. But you realize how big these Yeti are because Migo kind of gets caught up in the crash a little bit. And he's as big as this plane is. And I think it's one of those, like, a smaller, not a giant, like, Boeing.
It's not like a jet. It's like
one guy is piloting this plane.
Like, it's got like a propeller or something.
No, it's big. I think it's bigger than, like, the, with the two. It's bigger than... It's a tube plane.
It's not... Okay, so you're saying it's not like a World War II biplane.
All right.
Okay.
It's a tubular plane.
Okay.
But it's not as big as, like, what you and I were
It's not like a 737.
Yes.
It's a little...
It's like a small cargo plane.
Like a little... Okay. A cargo plane? A cargo plane would be big. A little passenger plane. It probably seats like 8. Right?
But there's only one pilot.
Right.
Only one person is driving it.
Okay.
There's not any... I don't know where was he going? Because we don't talk to him again. He just gets scared by the Yeti, and the Yeti goes, "You're a Smallfoot."
Oh. Okay, Natalie was telling me a little bit about this movie before, just as we were getting ready, and yeah. I thought that the guy who crashed the plane was James Corden's character.
No, the guy that crashed the plane is a different character that runs down and tells James Corden that he saw a Yeti.
Come on, writers. We just gotta have an extra guy in there.
It's just an extra guy.
This could have been the moment that we... Okay.
Oh, calm down. Man, Rich just got irritated with the writers of Smallfoot.
Why would you add that extra little loop of Okay, never mind. Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, so the guy crashes, sees the Yeti, runs down, tells James Corden's character, who is, by the way, a wildlife documentarian.
Yeah.
Is that the right word? Documentarian?
Sounds right. Does he make documentaries about wildlife?
Yes.
You got it.
Okay.
You nailed it.
Yeah, so Migo goes back and is like, I saw Smallfoot, and the Stonekeeper, who is voiced by Common. Mm-hmm. And I'm pretty sure they made the Stonekeeper voiced by Common just so that he could have a rap song later in the movie. Because, I mean, the thing is that, because also, the Stonekeeper's daughter, who kind of becomes the love interest later, is voiced by Zendaya?
I think it's Zendaya.
Okay. And also, I think it's just her so that she can sing later. Like, I'm saying, like, voice acting.
They were like, let's find a famous rapper because we need a rap in here.
Yes.
Let's find a good we need our Let It Go. Let's get a good singer in here.
Yes. So anyway, Migo says, "Hey, I found a Smallfoot." They're like, "Smallfoot don't exist. Look, it's on this stone."
There is no Smallfoot.
There is no Smallfoot. You're banished. You're banished. So he gets banished. He ends up running into the Stonekeeper's daughter, who leads kind of like this group of Yeti conspiracy theorists who think that there are no mammoths holding up the mountain. And there are things below the clouds. And like, we need to question... because we have curiosity, and all that gets validated because they end up going below the clouds and finding James Corden's character and bringing him to the village. And there is a Smallfoot. If there's a Smallfoot, maybe the other stones are wrong.
Right.
But then we get into the meat of it, when the Stonekeeper tells Migo that the reason they have these laws are because back before...
In the long ago times,
in the before times,
mm-hmm.
They did meet small feets.
I'm going with Smallfoots.
Okay. They did meet them, and the small-footed people were scared of them and tried to attack them.
Uh-huh.
And the Yeti retreated to the top of this mountain. And the Stonekeeper takes Migo into the heart of this mountain, and you see that all these blocks of ice that are being, quote, fed to the mountain mammoths
mm-hmm.
are actually going into this room that's has like a lot of heat, a lot of fire built up in it.
Okay.
And I don't know how he keeps that running, though. It's just the Stonekeeper that knows
it's not
about
like
this.
So it's not like a volcano. It's just that there's a big fire in there.
Well, maybe it is a volcano. It just looks like a mountain.
Okay.
But maybe there's a lava type thing going on in the middle of it.
Okay.
That gives off steam when they feed the ice into the mountain. It gives off steam, and that steam creates the clouds around the mountain.
Yeah, see, now that makes sense. We knew that the mammoths couldn't just be eating ice.
Mammoths need vitamins.
They need nutrients.
So yeah, they're actually creating, unbeknownst to the Yetis, they are creating the cloud cover that they are not supposed to go past.
Right.
So it is all kind of like a conspiracy. But it scares Migo enough to say that the Smallfoot that he has brought back is actually just a hairless yak.
So he wants to try and be like, he's scared that the people are...
He's scared that
people are going to turn on them, yes, and that they are going to get hurt.
Yeah, and he's scared for his family and his friends that he's made along this whole journey and everything. So he goes against everything that he knows to now be true and says that he was mistaken, which in turn turns himself against this group that he's made friends with in the Yetis. And actually, Percy, James Corden's character, that's his whole name, Percy James Corden character. I think that's how I've referred to him every single time, is starting to show some altitude sickness. Mm-hmm. So he's not being able to, he's getting really sick. And then the daughter of the Stonekeeper ends up taking Percy down the mountain because she sees he's getting sick. And then it becomes the whole, like, there's a Yeti. Oh no, let's, at first they're in awe of her. because she is taller than all the buildings and everything, but then she does something to scare them. Like
be as tall as a building.
Yes, or like knocking over some cars or stepping on something, you know.
Sure.
And then the police are called, and then helicopters come out, and all that happens. And then Percy actually puts on a Yeti costume and leads the police away because he apparently recovers from altitude sickness extremely quickly.
All you have to do to recover from altitude sickness is come back down.
You just got to come back down. You got to un-altitude.
Yeah, de-altitude.
And then you de-altitude, then you de-sickness.
Yeah, it's easy.
And then he puts on a Yeti costume, and then when the police catch up to him, he makes it seem like it was him that was putting on this whole Yeti facade so that they don't go after the real Yeti.
Gotcha.
So there's a whole storyline of him and how he's trying to boost ratings in his TV show, but in the end he chooses to let the Yeti...
To like try and protect them.
Yes, try to protect them by maybe how do you say that? How do you by maybe
debunked.
Yeah.
I debunked this being
He kind of makes himself out to be a bad guy so that the Yetis can go free. But then you turn around and then the Yetis decide that they're going to try out this whole talking to Smallfeet thing, and then they dissipate their clouds and they come down to try to communicate with the Smallfeet.
Debunked.
So yeah. I mean, that was a very quick synopsis of Smallfoot, but I liked it. It was cute. I wasn't as into the music aspect. I think they wanted to be like on the Moana level of music, getting Zendaya, sorry, I'm sorry, I don't know how to say her name, getting her in there and getting like Common in there, and I think they wanted to be at that level, but I didn't feel like the music was at that level.
Oh man. Beans.
Beans. I also felt like it wasn't a super original concept. Again, like Moana, it's what's past this line that I'm not allowed to go past. Sure. Oh, it's a whole new world. Oh, hey, it's Aladdin. A whole new world. Oh, hey, it's the Little Mermaid. I just need to grow some legs so that I can go see this whole new world. You know, it's kind of a concept that's been done a lot.
It's kind of a coming of age thing. I think that happens a lot in kids movies because of that. Because there's like you gotta get out in the world one day. You gotta leave home one day.
Yeah, and you gotta come up with your own belief system too, I think.
I do think it's pretty original, the idea of reversing the way that we think about Yetis and Bigfoot.
Yes.
And sort of turning that on its head. I think that's clever.
Yeah, that it's coming from the Yeti's point of view that Smallfoots aren't real. I do want to touch just a little bit on the controversy of it, is that a lot of some of the more conservative, more outspoken people believe that it has an anti-faith message, and that it's like don't respect beliefs, you need to question. But as we don't really talk about it a lot because that's not what the podcast is. But you and I are people of faith, and I believe, we only become stronger when we ask questions. We only become stronger in our faith. And we also look at our faith and realize that for you and I, it's not just a bunch of rules that we have to follow blindly.
Yeah, I think we would generally agree with the idea that you should ask questions because if the thing you believe in is as easy to get past as there aren't mountain mammoths holding up the mountain.
Yeah.
then yeah, I mean, it's better to know the truth than to believe something that's false. And I think we would say that as people who are people of faith. Yeah,
exactly. So I had kind of a more positive conclusion to it than I feel some of the
some others.
Yeah. Maybe, I guess, I mean, because people can be conservative and not be on the internet, like, yelling about how it's anti-faith.
Sure.
You know. But anyway, some people are more outspoken on those things. Yeah. Being curious, asking questions, stepping out of your comfort zone, making friends with people that you at first would not have before, you know, choosing to have integrity. Percy, you know, ends up at the end choosing to have more of a, you know, he sacrifices his fame and fortune because he could be selling this idea of the Yeti for his TV show, and instead he lets the Yeti decide to, you know, show themselves instead of him, like, putting it all over.
Good for you, Percy James Corden's character.
Yes, good job, Percy James Corden's character. So yeah, cute movie. Cora watched a little bit of it. She thought it was kind of fun.
Great.
Yeah. There it is.
Well, that's going to do it for us today on Not Suitable for Adults. Thank you for hanging out with us. A couple of just quick housekeeping things. If you have recommendations or anything, if you want to talk about the things we talked about on the show today, send us an email at notforadultscast. That's NOT, the number 4, adultscast@gmail.com. Or you can tweet at us, notforadultscast on Twitter. Facebook.com/notforadultscast is our Facebook page. I think we're on Instagram still too. Do we do Instagram?
I need to be better at that.
Not for Adults Cast. So yeah, just we're always open to suggestions and feedback, and we'd love to hear from you, and we frequently do, and we thank you for that. Thanks to our pals over at Twitter who keep providing us with new promos. We got some new promos in this week, so
nice.
And you may know that, I don't know, it depends on when you're listening to this, but you may be hearing ads on our show now. That's part of our new setup with Spreaker.
Yeah.
So thanks to Spreaker for moving us over and sort of getting us set up. That's been a lot of interesting experience. It's been kind of good.
Kind of good?
Yeah.
It's been awesome good.
It's been awesome good. Yeah. Thank you to FNX. We're working with them on promoting some of their products. I've been using their sort of greens drink in the morning, and it's a super tasty way to start the day.
What's the flavor of it?
It's called Unicorn Punch.
Mm.
And I guess that's what it is. That's what it tastes like.
Does it taste like a unicorn's punch?
If you...
Have you ever been punched by a unicorn?
Now I have.
And it's green.
Yeah, and it's in the form of a sweet green drink. It's good. If you want to try out their products, they have a lot of activewear that they're constantly getting like new stuff and restocking, or supplements and sort of health related things like that. Or if you work out, there's a lot of great stuff for folks who are really serious about working out and all that sort of stuff. That's not me, but that's why I got the green drink. But it's all good. You can go over to fnxfit.com and use the code NS4A15 to get 15% off your order. And I mean, that's a great deal. Who doesn't want 15% off?
I don't.
Oh, well, don't go get it. This is the wrong deal for you. But for everyone else, this is a great option. Thank you again for listening. Listen, sometimes you just gotta put on Emperor's New Groove and just watch it. Just watch Emperor's New Groove on loop over and over and over again. And your kid might not want to watch Emperor's New Groove 20 times, but you know what? You watched Moana for them 20 times, so now it's your turn. Don't forget you're the boss.
So watch whatever you want.
Okay, bye.
Bye.